Well, I know you're laughing at these Republicans, as you should be. I mean, what a bunch of lunatics. How obvious is it? They're just some knuckleheads in fancy suits, expensive suits walking around. And what do? These are the knuckleheads that stopped women from getting paid the same as a man in a job. That's what Republicans did in Bush-Cheney era. Another ridiculous era of Republican fiasco. It's Republicans who told you, oh, COVID's a hoax. While thousands of Americans were getting sick and dying every day, that idiot Trump stood up there and said, oh, COVID's a hoax. And the other Republican Party members, oh, they joined in. They joined in. And then look at the other stuff. Republicans worked against coming up with an inflation reduction plan. And then turn around and complain about inflation. Well, they didn't put any input into it. Of course they didn't, because everything about Republican is tied to corporate profit, not out there to help you. Republicans voted against lowering the cost of your pharmaceutical meds that you get, right? You know, your prescription drugs and whatnot. Republicans voted against lowering those prices, figuring out how to lower those prices. Not helping you, they're helping the pharmaceutical companies. Just look how they vote. And look at these idiot MAGA ones, the Gates, the Margie Greens, the Boberts, the lunatics, you know, those groups. Look what they wanted to do. They wanted to cut your Social Security. Over 75% of Americans who are on the Social Security income use Social Security as their main source of income. And here's the Republicans wanting to cut your money. And remember, it's your money. Social Security is the money you put aside while you were working all those years. It's your money. It ain't Republicans. It's not Democrats' money. It's your money. And here come the Republicans saying, oh, they're going to cut Social Security. Your money. Republicans keep denying the reality of climate change being caused by corporate criminals and their economic system. They don't want to talk about it. They say, oh, it's just the science. Oh, it could be, but it might not. They dance around. The scientific community is completely in agreement that climate change is caused by the economic system that we have going. And all those corporate toxins that have been pumped into your air, your water, your soil. Filling up the oceans with plastics. All of it justified by that economic system that said profit was the measure of success. Not you, but profit. You don't even count in that Republican scam of economic system. You don't count in the economic system of Republicans. What counts in money measures is the abstraction of profit. And you see the end result, of course, the guaranteed result. Destruction of the whole planet because of that economic system. That toxic economic system of profit. And here you got these Republicans prancing around, so scared. They're so inept, so scared. They can't stand up and say, look, Trump was a failure. A complete worst president ever. Guaranteed, right there. Twice impeached. Tried to overthrow the democracy based on a bunch of lies. And look at the guy. He's how many, at the time of this recording, I mean, he's got a whole mess of federal folks, crimes that he's being taken to court for, from his own real estate crap, that he fabricated and lied about the value of his property so he could go to a bank and borrow more money because he was bankrupt again. And this is the example, supposedly, of a good businessman. It makes you laugh, break out laughing, everything. When you talk about Trump, everything's like he's a joke. He's a ridiculous joke. He's trying to tell you, oh, he's a great businessman. And look at him, 7 times bankrupt. Going around making up, he and his sons go around and make up, well, we'll just say this property's worth so many million. When it's not. And they go that to take to a bank and say, oh, our properties, we're worth a lot of money. Oh, gosh, but we need money because we're bankrupt. Again. I mean, that's the Republican example of good business. Yeah, I know. You break out laughing. And all his blowhard language of violence and saying, oh, this and that, these people, they're racist, they're bigoted, because they take him to court for the facts. For the facts that he lied, he screwed up over and over again. It's just ludicrous. And there's these Republicans dancing around. You got, at the time of this recording, you got a Republican presidential debate going on. And who doesn't show up? Because he's too scared to show up. He can't show up. Trump can't show up to the Republican debate. He'd have to answer questions. He'd have to try and talk about his failures, his criminal activities, his attempt to overthrow the government, his saying that COVID was a hoax. Well, thousands of Americans were dying every day. He'd have to come in there and face the music, Somebody's going to have to ask him. So he just says, oh, I'm not showing up. And they're supposed to make you sound like, oh, that was somehow brave of him, somehow. It shows how much a wimpy he is, what a weak stick he is, that he's such a blowhard he couldn't even show up for the debate. And trying to defend what he is and who he is and what he's done. He can't. And all the other Republicans, they're such a bunch of wimps that they themselves, they sound up there and sound long. Christie gets all enthusiastic. They try and get, dramatic and say stuff. And it's all phony. It's so glaringly, obviously a joke. Because, hey, where is the guy that you're responding to? What's the policies that were in effect for this 4 years of this idiot Trump that you're trying to play off of and talk about? They can't. And so they just play along with it. It's like a real sad, folks, but pretty dramatic. Kind of big joke of how a bunch of losers and buffoons is the Republican Party. And now, just on top of it, there he is, Kevin McCarthy, getting bounced from being the Speaker for the Republicans in the House. Bounced by who? The MAGA idiots, the Magats. We should just call them the Magats. The Gates, the Margie Greens, the Boberts, these lunatics in there who wanted to cut your Social Security, who wanted to let corporations poison the planet more for profit, who wanted to keep you poor, not raise the minimum wage, in this thing, not do anything about inflation that would help you. And those are the ones who complain about McCarthy and their policies and what they wanted to do, and they threw him out. Voted him out. I mean, I know, You just break out laughing. They're a bunch of, and who are they going to, now the Republican Party dances around saying, well, now what are they going to do? Because in the national news, in the international news, it's pretty obvious these guys are a bunch of lunatics. These guys are off the chain. These guys are just a bunch of clowns in very expensive suits. And you'd really be laughing, except when you really look into what do they suggest for government. And you find out they want to cut your Social Security. They want to keep corporations ripping you off for your pharmaceutical, your prescription drugs. So they can make a lot of money and you pay out the nose but like no other country in the world for your prescription drugs. Republicans support that crap. Defend it. These maggots want to keep that going. Republicans don't want women to get the same pay as a man in a job. They've already blocked and stopped that legislation from going through. It's Republicans who stand around saying, oh, there's no climate change. Oh, no, gosh. When we got overwhelming facts, we got that even Exxon, the big corporation itself, Exxon knew climate change was real over 40 years ago. Exxon's own research department did the study and came back and told them, oh yeah, boy, we got too much CO2 going in the atmosphere, raising temperatures, all the stuff. But look what Exxon did. Exxon didn't turn around and say, oh, folks, gosh, we got to change the system. We got doing it this way is damaging the whole planet, damaging you and your health for you, your kids, and generations. We got to do something. No, Exxon turned around and started lying to you. Hiring public relation firms, paying off Republicans to lie to you, paying Rush Limbaugh to lie to you, paying Republican Fox News to lie to you. So they could keep poisoning you and your kids for the money. That economic system, that toxic economic system, is what they're defending. That's poisoned the whole planet. And Republicans are defending it and wanting to keep it going. And there they are, the maggots, who want to keep it going. There they are, their champion, their hero is this clown, this buffoon, Trumpy boy, this vast criminal, this inarticulate buffoon who lied to you, who deceived you, who tried to overthrow the whole democracy. It's pretty amazing. And yeah, we say, oh, it's the maggots, the Trump maggots. Oh yeah. But it's all the Republican Party. Because all the rest of them aren't making any big, they're not making any big roads about lowering your prescription drug prices. They're not talking about real substantive issues of climate change. They're not talking about giving women the same pay as men in a job. The whole Republican Party is actually like Trump and the maggots. Because even right here, in those ridiculous charades of, they call it, Republican presidential debate. They should call it the comedy hour. The comedy show, the Republican presidential comedy hour. But look at them. They're not chastising Trumpy boy for overthrowing the democracy. Bunch of lies. The Republican Party has not come out and officially, just took Trump to task for